But it's okay. Ah! See, I just got a notification saying they're going live. Watch them? Yes, I will. I will watch them.
So we can see what it looks like on the screen. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's not going to look like that fisheye, right?
No. But
Sci-Tech West. Yep, here it is.
but can you actually see us?
Yeah, if I turn the camera around, you can see me on
See,
my
mine is not. Oh, there it is. Make sure your volume's off if you're watching. There we
But
go.
like you have to tilt it there to see it. Like,
Oh, because this is the urj-6-Points-sc West Academy.
there.
That's why.
Wave hi, mommy.
Um. Well, it's okay. We'll just watch. Sci-Tech West. So they'll type answers and you'll just talk them.
Oh, Ruben said hi, Mom.
There you go. Live
Mommy,
now.
Ruben's watching. He said hi, Mommy.
There you go. So you can see, and everybody
And
else can also do this, and you can
Jashevsky?
scroll around. It does have like a couple second delay.
It says Deshevsky.
So yeah, but everybody
Yeah.
can go around.
So where can I see so I can say hi to people?
Hmm?
Where can I see who's watching so I can say hi?
Comment something.
Oh, there's
I think it'll all be here. This will be the chat. So you can actually add things here. You could type in chats and stuff, or you could just speak them.
Hi, Shira.
A little laggy, but it's not bad. Let's see if I could cast this. That would be cool. You could rely on your own man's money. You could rely on man's
I should
money.
hook up to the camera.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's unfortunate. I need to remember not to sing all the time. Look, we can see everything now.
Oh, there I am.
I see everything. And there's going to be like a feedback loop, like an infinity mirror thing, because you can see it seeing us, seeing it, seeing
Okay,
us.
well. The
Yeah.
lag is really the problem. I wonder
Yeah.
when you turn the sound off on here, so it's not just right.
Oh yeah, the sound should definitely be off, because otherwise that does like a feedback loop. That did not do what I thought it would do. Why is that not just like a mute button?
There. Here.
Yeah. Okay, but that's really cool though. Oh, I do want to get rid of this blue wire though, because that's like just right in the way.
Okay, so let me say hi everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna get started in about 5 minutes. We're just getting set up. And again, if you have any questions, or we would love for you to say hi to us in the chat, and we'll be able to answer your questions and say hi back.
Oh, there you are.
This computer needs to be plugged in.
Yes, I brought the plug. I just didn't take that extra step
Here, where's the outlet? Okay.
on this guy.
Oh,
That's his whole point. Yeah. His name is Herbert Hoover, because he's a vacuum.
So are they seeing what's on that screen, or are they seeing what's on my screen here?
They have the option. They can make it that version, but most of them will end up looking what's on your screen style. But they can move the mouse to see whatever part they decide they want to see,
Okay.
which is the cool thing about 360. What are you seeing? Okay, Google. play bop. Or something.
This
Should I still
computer.
play that on the holiday?
No.
This computer just went
No
off.
problem. Playing Johann Sebastian Bach on Spotify.
Let's play bop, not bop.
I just did that.
I forgot to turn on the switch when I plugged it in, so it wasn't actually charging.
Why are there two
But it's
of you?
okay. We can still see the feed here and there. Oh yeah, because if you go to the end of where the cameras are, that's a terrible looking view. If you go like, I went too far. Here-ish.
Hi, friends.
I went in the wrong direction. Yeah, this is it.
It's not starting.
Ben.
What? Do you know what's the problem with Windows 10? Is that they designed it specifically for, they designed it specifically for, what's it called? You know, they designed it for touchscreens, and not everybody has a touchscreen. Well, Sharon and Ruben are watching. That's what matters.
Well, I'm not watching.
And I'm watching.
And
And-
Jordan.
Oh, hi, Jordan. Jordan. See you on Wednesday, Jordan. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So ready to start.
Yeah, I guess I could explain what I'm doing and then I'll just get to work.
Well, we should do that in 2 more minutes.
Or we can wait a couple more minutes and give other people a chance to figure it
So,
out.
in 2 minutes,
Yeah.
I would like to say what we will do, and then be able to start right away with doing it.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, it's awkward. There's nowhere behind the camera where you can just pull up your pants, you know what I mean? Okay, Google.
You have to
Stop.
leave.
Shira, you should pick one spot and stay there.
Okay.
Or all the spots apparently. This should be pretty safe for the most part. Until I use that, then it'll be significantly less safe right there. Because then your head is going to be in a line of literal fire. But you'll
Then
move.
I'll
on.
move.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I had a box spring mattress in here for 2 weeks. It was super annoying. I got it out specifically for this. But yeah, this is it. Like this is the thing. Isn't that cool? And then it like you have these guys, which are not easy to.
So you're gonna pull that out so people can see it?
Yeah, and everybody can just turn their head here and see it. That's the
Okay.
cool thing.
So it's 7:30.
It's 7:30 now.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Do you want to wait 5 minutes past 7:30, or you want to start now?
Well,
Because if you say 7:30, right? Like think of it like a party. You say 7:30, nobody's showing up at 7:30, and 7:30 is when they're gonna turn on their computers and try to find the website,
okay.
and then
Well, let's start with what we are going to cover.
what we're doing. What?
What we are going to do in this hour.
Yeah. All right. Well, today we're making a pendulum wave device, and this is that. So the cool thing is it's gonna have. I got a little bit of work done on it so far. But we're gonna continue, but it's going to stand kind of like a swing set, and it's gonna have these swings that come down, and at the bottom will be these billiards ball, pool balls, and they will swing. And when we have all of them hung at different heights, then when they swing, they'll make a cool pattern when you look at it from this direction. In addition to doing all of that, I'm over here now, it's really cool. In addition to doing all of that, it's also going to use, follow me over here, it's also going to use electromagnets. And these electromagnets are going to sit here so that you can actually bring a big stick to hold all the balls back, and then when you press a button, all the balls will start swinging at the same time. So we're going to do a little bit of soldering and the electronics work on those. We're going to do a bit of cutting metal. We need to take, follow me over here. We're going to take this metal and cut it down into little pieces to make another one of these. We're going to put some holes in it, screw on nuts so that we can make these stop, and then we are going to weld on this thing of holes so that when you connect the two, you'll be able to hang the balls at the same increment all the way down because the holes are evenly spaced all the way down. Can I stand this up? Yes, I can. And that's what we're going to do. So the first step, I think, if we're safe, is we're going to do some metal cutting. So before I metal cut, I want to show you something cool I made, because that will help while we're waiting for a couple more people. So if you've ever tried cutting something circular, it's very difficult to make an angled cut on a circular tube. So what I did was I actually took our 3D printer from camp, and I 3D printed this little, what's called a jig. When you're building stuff and you have a device that's designed to help you make the same cut over and over again, that's called a jig. So what this jig does is, instead of having to try to draw an angle all the way around and figure out when it's supposed to go up and when it's supposed to go back down, you just slide it right on top, and then you can just draw a line with Sharpie, as you see I did here, and then you'll know exactly where to cut. And it's going to fit perfectly because I designed it on a computer.
And then what is that piece used for?
And this piece, do I have? This is an older version, but this piece is then going to be connected here so that the smaller tubes, called EMT or electrical conduit, can fit into this big one to hold it at a 60-degree angle so that it has a nice sturdy base so that this isn't sliding around. And that's how we're going to hold this up. So you can see, I don't want to take it apart yet until it's time to start building, but you can see here, this is two tubes that I cut at 30 degrees each, because 30 plus 30 equals 60. And I welded them together, which we're about to do. And that made this nice triangle that these legs can sit inside.
Now, I don't know if it's time for this yet, but we said that we were going to have our friends practice some of the math. So, is there a formula that you use to figure out how long those strings should be?
Yes. An extremely complicated and difficult formula that I can pull out and show people
maybe a little later.
A little later.
Okay.
We're gonna save the strings for after we have this welded on, because we have to measure from the bottom point of here, and that'll help decide how long the strings are.
Okay.
But it did involve several spreadsheets and graphing calculators.
Oh my goodness.
Or at least scientific calculators. Graphing might have been excessive, but it was cool to watch.
Okay, so we're ready to do some welding.
Yeah. Well, first let's do some metal cutting. Safety first, though. So you guys both need, these are my glasses. Sure, you don't have glasses, right? Yeah. So these are for you.
Ah.
Very professional looking.
Yeah. Those are for you. And great. Now what I want to do, I'm going to find my angle grinder. Snap this guy in.
So I just want to remind everyone that since we have a 360-degree camera on in the shop here, that you can use the top left corner. You should see some arrows. And you could use those arrows.
Yeah, if you're on a computer, there's arrows. Or if you're on a phone, you can just move your phone around or swipe with your finger if you're on a phone or iPad or other mobile device.
Yeah.
All right. This thing is heavy.
What is that called?
This is called a vise. Usually they're screwed into tables so that you don't have to pick them up like this. But because I'm going to cut stuff and you're about to see a bunch of sparks are going to fly off of this, and so to prevent fires, we're going to do this on the floor, not on my wood tables.
Oh, okay.
Sure. You see, I think it's really cool. They could just follow me running around the shop.
I think the 360 camera is Ben's favorite thing.
It is.
In
I
the
use
entire
it all
shop.
the time now. And it was really, it's just really cool. And like, I thought it was going to be way harder to use, but really you just plug it in and then you use it. Like, it's even easier than a GoPro,
Okay.
which Camp also has.
So you're cutting these pieces.
Yeah, so my first step is, at first, fun math thing, you can see I traced a line here because I thought I was just going to cut the end at an angle. Then I remembered that when you cut anything at an angle, you're also at the same time cutting the exact same angle in the other direction on the other side.
Right.
So instead of cutting the same angle twice, I could cut the same angle once by cutting that angle in the middle of the two pieces instead of cutting it at the end twice.
Okay.
And then also, that way you know they're going to fit together because they were cut at the same time.
Cool.
Smart
Okay.
things that you figure out only after literally so many hours of practice.
Well, that's why we talk about patience and perseverance,
Exactly.
right? Sticking
And
with it and
testing.
figuring it out.
And you could see 2 models of the thing I made, and those were only the 2 I kept. I went through about 4 other models. I made models out of paper first. Well, first I made models on Tinkercad, which is a fun 3D modeling website that we're going to use for 3D printing this summer. Then I made models out of cardboard, out of old, paper towel rolls, because they're similar shape and they're tubes, so it was really easy to cut them on one of my wood saws and see exactly how they're going to fit together to get the right angle. I got a bunch of different wood and I made these different shapes. I spent probably about 2 weeks just trying to figure out what shape I wanted this to be and what angle.
That sounds like the planning is really important.
Planning is very important because when you plan, it saves you a lot of material and a lot of time in the long run. And
Okay.
hopefully works better.
So you're going to put that into the vise, which really just holds it still.
The vise just holds it still.
Okay.
And then that tightens it, and then I'm going to take this guy, and the way this is called an angle grinder, and the way it works is it kind of shoots out sparks in both directions. That's not how it works, that's just more of a side effect. But you really don't want to be on, let's look at this crack on the ground, because my garage has a giant crack. Don't be on that crack. And so this is a abrasive pad. You can see it's kind of like a normal saw will have a bunch of little teeth on it. This just uses friction to cut things down. So it's kind of like sanding it really fast.
So Eitan is on and he thinks Ben is going to die.
Not yet, but we'll see. I'd be happy if nothing caught fire, so let's try it.
Okay.
Flip it over, cut the other side.
All right.
It's not perfect, but I'm going to sand them after, and that'll help make it slightly more perfect.
Okay.
Eitan now thinks that your pants are going to catch on fire.
What?
Aton thinks that your pants are gonna catch on fire.
No, that's why you have to wear jeans when you're doing this, and I'm wearing a jean jacket, not just because Canadian tuxedos look cool, but because the denim doesn't melt and doesn't catch fire easily. You want to wear like wool or denim. If you're wearing synthetic clothes, like if you're wearing yoga pants and doing this, the yoga pants could actually melt straight into your skin. That happened to a friend of mine.
Aton,
So
make sure
don't wear
you
yoga
don't wear
pants,
yoga
Aton,
pants.
Yeah, but or like those I have those like camping pants that zip off at your knees. Those will also melt into your skin. So.
You want to wear the ear?
Nice, that one went really smoothly. Ow. Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of worked.
You cut the piece.
Now I just want to cut a straight line to make this the same length. So I'm just going to line this up here. Straight lines are a lot easier.
Okay.
Alright, now we have two pieces that kind of sort of fit together. That tool is not super accurate, but what we're going to do is take it over to my sander, and that's going to get them to be much
Even more.
flatter.
And that's the other side of
That's
the
over here.
legs of our whole
Yeah,
contraption.
this will be the other side of the legs.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, sander works, right? There's just literally sand glued to a piece of paper, wrapped in a circle around a conveyor belt, and it just moves really fast. And that, again, using friction, pulls off the material.
The four hooligans want you to tell the Cheerio story while you're sanding.
While I'm working? Okay, I can do that. Alright. That's a much smoother. Alright, see that fit? That is a lot better than it looked a minute ago. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because welding is kind of like hot glue in that you're putting out a thin bead of material, and that metal actually fuses to both of these metals, like on a molecular level, and that will fill in any small gaps, just like if you're gluing hot gluing two pieces of cardboard. But the cool thing about welding, unlike hot glue, is that it's actually turning it into one big piece of metal. It doesn't just add metal, it literally melts into the other metal and turns it all into one piece. So when you scrape away the extra stuff, it's going to look just like it's one piece of metal.
Right. So we got the question again. What exactly are we making again? So it's a wave pendulum. So if we look over here at the base, you can see that we have one ball hanging from there right now, but how many total balls will there be at the end?
16. I have a whole pool set.
16 pool balls will be hanging from the top bar, and because hopefully Ben did the math correctly, when you set all the balls swinging at the same time, and he'll show us how he's going to do that with a magnet. They're all magnetized, and they'll all be released at the same time. They actually start off swinging together, and then they start making all these cool patterns, and in the end, well, let's ask, do you think that they all come back together, or do you think that they all just randomly swing and stay still? We'll see. We'll see what the folks think.
Leave a comment down below.
Leave a
That's
comment.
my favorite thing in YouTube videos. When they're like, what do you think? Leave a comment down below.
Right, so Alex has seen this in science class, so maybe Alex will leave us the right
But
answer.
Alex, the one in science class, was it this big? Tell me the truth.
Was it this cool?
Wait,
Yes.
Ben has waves. Ben has waves.
Okay, so are you going to weld those right
yeah,
now?
so now I'm going to weld these. It's going to be fun.
Okay, you're pushing
Welding.
this.
So some rules about welding before we weld. Also going to make a lot of sparks, but not just sparks, like throwing drops of molten metal everywhere. So if you're going to be looking in my general direction,
Oh, I was just about if I could take these off.
you could take those off.
But I have to
But
replace
when
it
you
with
look
this.
in my
Okay.
general direction, you have to put that on.
This is very cool. I can't see anything.
No, you won't. You won't be able to see a single thing until I start welding.
Oh.
It's kind of like when you look. You don't have to have it on now. I'll let you know for
Okay.
the seconds. And if you don't look my direction, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, so I could
Yeah, you could turn around. I'll let you know when it's time. I'm gonna wear this one. This one is much better because it has sunglasses too, but those actually turn on and off. And so when the sparks start to fly, mine will just get dark. But now I can see everything. It just looks orange.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take my vise again. Drop this pull on there. We'll need to cut one more piece, but we'll do that later. It's very loud. And what I'm gonna do is can you guys see? I'm like right in the seam, although I think you can still see it. I'm gonna take this, get near the door because the fumes it gives off is not great. And I'm going to put these together in the vise, and I'm going to use,
But it's okay if they're looking at their computer screen.
yeah,
while
their
this is
computer
happening,
screens are
right?
fine. It's
Okay.
just, you don't want to be directly looking at it.
Like me. I'm the
Yeah.
only one in danger here, folks.
Yeah, it's kind of like
and me.
the basilisk in Harry Potter. You can look at it in a mirror, you can look at a picture of it, you just can't directly look at it straight in the eye, because then you will become petrified, and Harry Potter will have to save you.
Aton's studying for an AP government.
Okay. Good luck on AP Gov, Aton.
Okay, so I have this tool. It's a type of square, and basically, see it has different angles on each side, 90 degrees, 60 degrees, although I wrote 120 because the outside is 120, inside is 60, and then 90 plus 60 equals 150, which means the last angle has to be 30 degrees because all triangles add up to 180 degrees. Use that on your AP test.
Now
Aton.
Aton thinks that you remind me of Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder.
Yeah, you remind me.
There's a much better builder named Bob. His name is Bob Claggett, and he has a YouTube channel called I Like to Make Stuff. And you should check that. And I found out they're not perfectly square, so sure you should move your face. Because I need to
Oh,
weld
right.
this a little bit. I need to sand this a bit more.
Oh, we're going back over
Yeah.
here to the sander.
I'm
Okay.
good.
Yeah. There you go. That's much closer to the Sharpie line.
And
now-
what's the angle that you are trying to achieve?
I'm trying to achieve 60, although it doesn't have to be perfect. But the closer to 60, the more uniform this will be.
And
That'll
the
be better.
other side on the other leg is 60, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although, now that I don't have a bottom piece, originally I had a piece in the bottom. That's another iteration I had. Is there were pieces that were going to go along the bottom to connect the legs together, and then all the way around. And then somebody was in my shop, and he's like, you know, why don't you just put rubber feet on it, and then it won't slide around. And now it's like it's super stable. There's no feet on the bottom. It doesn't move. Like
Yeah.
it did not need that bottom piece. So
And
if
that's
it's
why
a little off from 60, it'll be fine.
it's good to work in teams with friends and get feedback because then they come up with ideas like that, right?
Exactly. Gotta love clip roots up.
All right, so this is going back in your vise.
Yeah, this is gonna go back in my vise. I'm gonna try to make it as close to 60 as I can, while still keeping it kind of pushed together. So kind of balancing between matching my cuts to each other and matching it to the original 60 degrees.
And then while you're doing that, I'll just remind everyone that we're making this to be on display at our booth at the Clippers Science Festival at the LA Convention Center, March 22nd and 23rd. So the 22nd is a Friday, so that's when school groups come through. The 23rd is a Saturday. So if you're able to come visit us at our booth, you could play with this wave pendulum that we're building.
Honestly, I should probably have this on. I'm gonna be sitting directly over. This is a gas mask.
Oh.
Well, it's a dust protection.
I'm feeling really safe now. He's wearing a gas mask. And
Open the door. Isn't that
okay, he has a gas mask, and we have extra ventilation, while I have this Phantom of the Opera thing that's gonna protect me. So.
loud?
And I have nothing.
Yeah, so don't look here. But if you do want to look, just ask your mom to switch, and then she'll look away, and you can
Okay.
hold on to the thing. Cool. So I'm gonna plug it in. Fancy schmancy, totally normal plug. And then the way a welder works, pretty much all welders, is you're creating a circuit in any welder. So just like when we did paper circuits, like you all got in your Rosh Hashanah cards, right? You have a power source, and you have electricity running from that power source. And in a circuit, electricity always wants to come back to its original power source. So the welder is giving out just a lot of power, and it wants to send that power back. And so the way it does that is it sends it through the metal back in. So it's coming out here. This gets clipped onto the piece you're working on, and now it's sending electricity through here. And when you pull that trigger, it's not on yet, but there's a little piece of metal coming out here. And when you touch it, the amount of power that's running through is too much for this amount of metal to handle. So the metal just melts. And when the metal melts, it does what's called an arc reaction. And so it basically a lot of electricity melts the metal into the other metal and keeps it there. And then that's the basics. I don't think I need the respirator now that I've opened the garage.
I feel safer.
I do need the gloves though. That was silly of me.
Someone has a question
Because
for you.
with thousands or with just that much electricity, it gets very, very hot, very, very quickly.
Oh, let's see. Is there a question? Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, I got behind in my comments.
They're asking
That's
if
pretty
it's
cool,
a
though.
chemical welder.
Oh, is that a
It's-
chemical welder?
As far as I know, there's not really a chemical welder. It's there's three types of welders really. There's flux, MIG, and TIG, and stick. But stick could be any of those three. But the main thing about a welder, right, is that all of them melt metal in order to fuse two pieces of metal together using electricity. The differences between them is that reaction, that physical reaction, does not enjoy oxygen. Or it might be some other gas that's in our atmosphere, but it does not enjoy Earth's atmosphere. And so what you have to do is remove all the air from around what you're doing. So there's three ways to do that. One is you make a giant bubble, you suck out all the air, and you work in a vacuum like you're in space. That would be very cool, but not very cost effective and very difficult to remove all the air from my garage, and then I'd have to wear an oxygen tank, which could explode. So not a great idea. Step number two is you can remove the air by doing what's called displacement. And the way you can displace things is by using another gas, or in my case, by using plastic called flux. So basically, you are releasing another either gas or plastic over the area you're going to weld, and that pushes all the air that's supposed to be there out, Same way as if you blew air into a cup of chocolate milk and it starts to kind of rise the chocolate milk and make bubbles. That's what this is about to do. So this metal that I have is actually coated in a thin sheet of plastic, and it's going to melt that plastic over whatever I'm welding. It does not do as good of a job as MIG welders or TIG welders, which use gas to do that. And so this one you'll hear like a lot of popping and zip, 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 and that's from all of it reacting with the air and from the plastic exploding.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
it's going to be fun.
Okay. We're going to do it. Let's see what happens.
All right. Always try to pull with your feet.
Okay.
All right.
Is it time for my mask?
Just about, yeah.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1. There we go. We have a weld. Now I just have to do it all the way around.
Yeah, you can look.
Yeah, you can look. I'm gonna take it a little bit more around because I don't think that's enough to hold it in place. And then I'll bring it closer to the camera so you can see how it looks.
Okay. Not ready for a close-up yet.
No. We're gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Wow, I've got to say, my welding has gotten a lot better since earlier this week.
If you do say so yourself.
Oh, I do. Yeah. This is just wow. Another good lesson to learn is take a second to be proud of yourself sometimes because you deserve it.
Okay.
Wow.
So is that all finished? That piece?
No, not even a little bit. But I've done about a third of it.
Okay, let's have a close-up.
But you can see it's still very hot. I don't know if that's the right place, but you can see right here how there's now this bead of metal connecting the two, as opposed to this side where nothing's connecting them.
I see.
The next step, and I need a battery.
Alex is
Megatron.
afraid. Alex is afraid you're gonna get a sunburn.
A
From
sunburn.
welding.
That's what the jacket's for.
He said, just remember, Ben, use long sleeves when doing that because you can actually get a sunburn.
You can definitely get burns. I think they'd actually be a bit worse than a sunburn.
He
Yeah.
wants you to get a quench blanket.
So what's that gonna do?
I would like to point out another shop safety thing. Right here is my fire extinguisher. So if I do inevitably catch fire, not on purpose like I did earlier today, which was on purpose,
Oh, yeah.
that's how you deal with that situation.
Okay.
There's also a sink right outside. But if you look here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clean it up. Wow, that looks so pretty. I'm sorry, wow. I'm really proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too.
Look at that.
Ben.
Look how pretty that weld is. That's
Beautiful.
going on Instagram later. Now let's see. Here's a mistake. When you're holding it with these gloves, it doesn't feel hot. And last time I took off the gloves too early, and I burned myself, and I still have the burn.
Oh.
That is, thank God, the wrong angle. That would have been really sad if that was how wrong it was. Look at that. That is what we call close enough.
That's great.
That's pretty close.
Is that a technical term? Close enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm just going to do it all the way around the whole inside. We'll clean it up, and then we're going to have to weld another one at 90 degrees. So right now I have this part, and you can just see between these two how much better this looks.
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to do this part too.
Okay. Is that more cutting and more welding?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're going to have to do more drilling holes and welding in order to put these nuts in.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, this project is 90% cutting things and welding things.
Cutting things and welding things.
But we can do a little bit of electronics before it's time to go.
Yeah, let's do that soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me finish this weld. Now we can do some electronics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So if anyone's joining us who is not yet part of our SciTech family, we all know each other, and because we go to camp together in the summertime. We're URJ 6-Points-sc West, longest camp name ever. And you can look us up and find out all about us. We are a Jewish overnight science and technology summer camp. And I think we might be the only one in the West.
Oh, in the West. Yeah.
We have an East Coast location, but in the West, the only camp that combines overnight. Oh, time for my mask. Okay.
Or just don't look this direction.
Okay, maybe both.
When you did from the video, it looks like you're not wearing a mask.
All right.
Okay.
Going back.
Oh.
This one looks less good, but it's still fun. Nice. All right.
Okay.
You can see the smoke coming out of this actually.
Oh, yeah.
So
I can see this.
it's so hot. Yeah, you can look now.
Ruben is also really impressed with how fine your welding has
Thank you, Ruben.
come along. Thank you, Ruben.
All right. One last part to weld.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to keep turning it in the vise so that you can get at all the different
Well,
angles.
now that it's pretty well stuck together. Now it's just to make sure nobody gets a finger stuck in there or something. So now I can just leave it on the floor.
Okay.
Which will be easier than clapping it up every time.
Okay, here we go.
Masks. Wow, look at that.
A lot of smoke.
A lot of smoke. I think that's actually preventing it from welding a little because it's getting in the way.
It's pretty stinky too, folks. I gotta tell
Yeah. You're lucky there's no smell-o-vision yet. Wow. Don't breathe that.
you.
That's why we have fans running and the garage open. Alright, but that, look at that. I mean, you can't
That's pretty
pull that
well
apart
said.
if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Don't touch this though, because it's still like
hot.
1,000,000 degrees.
Wow. How long did it take to cool down?
Have no idea. This one had a lot of smoke trapped, so because the smoke was trapped, it probably kept it warmer than it's supposed to.
Oh.
But you just have to kind of keep testing it. So you can see this tool, right? It's just a wheel with a bunch of metal spikes coming out of it. It's kind of like a toothbrush, but it spins. It's like an electric toothbrush. And wow, I'm gonna clean this up a little bit later with another tool, but honestly, this is good. I'm happy with it.
Good job. We're so proud of Ben. Are we
I'm so proud of Ben.
So proud.
Well,
Okay.
I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier who was like, you can't do a project with that welder, you need a MIG welder. The plastic welders won't work. And I'm like, well, I guess you should watch my live feed if you want to learn how to weld better.
All right. So what are we gonna work on next?
Let's take a little break from welding. Wow, I'm just so proud. Alright, let's take a little break from welding, let this cool down before I attach the next part. Let it cool down, not on a piece of wood.
On the cement floor.
Yeah. And aim it upwards so that the heat can escape, because heat likes to travel upwards, and if you just put it upside down, the heat will kind of collect in the top.
Jordan says she's proud of you too.
Thank you. Wait, which Jordan is it?
Deshevsky.
Oh, I thought it was Jordan from Aliyah. Jordan. Okay.
They're friends.
Yeah.
Those
No.
two Jordans. Oh, and Ruben says you rock.
Well, thank you, Ruben.
All right.
You rock too.
What are we gonna do next?
I'm gonna pull out a table. I'm gonna set up a table over here, so that you guys can see me. Usually I work on my bench, but the problem with 360 is that then you would just get a nice view of my back while I did electronics.
Okay, so what electronics are needed in this project?
This was my first workbench from when I was like 10. And this was like my whole tool. Like right now I have a lot of tools. But I want to show you guys you don't need a lot of tools to build stuff. Even in college, this was the entirety of my workshop. I had this box, I had a couple that had a drill in it, and I think a handsaw. And I had this bench to work on. And that's all I did from middle school till the end of college. It wasn't until last year I got all this stuff.
So you don't need a lot in order to be able to do a lot.
You don't need a lot to do a lot. You just need more time and patience.
Yeah.
Because all these tools, all they do is make it work faster. But you could even cut through that metal with the handsaw if you have enough patience.
That would take a lot of patience and perseverance.
Yes, it would. Savla knew.
So what's electronic on this wave pendulum?
So what's electronic on this wave pendulum is, imagine in your mind, instead of one ball hanging, we're going to have 15, right? The way this works is, right, its goal is to show you what a wave looks like, because they're all different heights, and it shows how a wave goes like that. Normally we see them going up and down. This one will go horizontal. In order to do that, though, all the balls have to start falling at the same time. The pendulums all have to start their arc at the same time. So if you were like this and you were like pushing stuff, it would be hard to get all 15 balls to start at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one slightly smaller plank of wood. It's going to take all the balls at the same time, push them, and then it's going to latch onto a magnet here. And that magnet is going to hold up. Obviously the wood's not magnetic. I'm going to attach something to the wood.
Yeah.
But that magnet's going to keep the wood there. And then when you press a button, it's going to turn off the electricity to the magnet, the electromagnet, and it's no longer going to be magnetic. So whatever's holding up the balls is just going to fall down, and then all the balls will swing at the same time.
Got it.
And that'll be a fun thing. If you come to the Science Center, you can actually be the one to press the switch and start the machine.
Yes. If you come visit us at the Clippers Science Fair, March 22nd and 23rd at the LA
switch.
Convention Center.
It's right there.
Cool.
All right. There's originally going to be this button, but then buttons have issues because I want it to turn all the way off. Otherwise, the magnets will just turn right back on the second you let go, and it will waste a lot of battery. And also overheat the magnets. That's something you have to be careful with the electronics is heating.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna sit right here, and we're gonna do some electronics work. So, I have just so many things. I'm gonna collect my head. Okay, here are the majority of the components. I need the actual magnet. That would be helpful.
Oh, show us what that looks like.
Yeah. And my wire. So this is the magnet. I wish you could see inside. But inside, it's kind of like this. It's a spool of wire, much tighter bound than that. Copper wire. And it's really, really tightly wound. And what happens is when you put electricity into that wire, it creates an electromagnetic field. So it turns into a magnet.
A magnet, yeah.
Ooh, my hands are all black now. When you turn off the electricity, it just no longer is a magnet.
It's just plastic.
Yeah, so we're going to demonstrate this. We're going to try building a circuit. Yeah, we're going to try building a circuit. And see how to get this to work. I'm not sure if where we're going is going to have electricity or if we're going to have to make this battery operated. So we're just going to wire it up for both.
Okay.
Take this. This will be our test so you guys can see it picking up stuff.
Oh, because that's metal, so the magnet would stick to it.
Exactly.
Okay, I know.
Other useful things would be heat shrink. Is in here. Other useful things would be my wire strippers.
What is heat shrink?
Heat shrink is this really cool thing. You can actually see it on the phone because my wire broke. Heat shrink is this. So it's basically a piece of plastic, and it comes as like a little tube, like a sleeve. And when you heat it up, it actually shrinks down.
Oh.
So when you're connecting wires, if you just solder up all the wires, then you have exposed metal. And the problem with exposed metal is that it can electrocute you. And so what we do is we put a little piece of plastic over it and shrink it down to perfectly fit what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you don't get electrocuted.
Okay.
So I put it on this one because my phone wire was starting to break and wires were exposed. And instead of getting electrocuted, I thought that would be a better idea. All right. We're gonna make a circuit. And all circuits, to some extent, are pretty much the same. We're lucky everything here is running the same voltage and amperage, which is just how much electricity and how quickly that electricity is being sent to whatever you're doing. If think of it often as compared to water, so if you have like a river, think of it like a gate opening and closing the water to the river, or like a faucet in your sink is an easier analogy.
Yeah.
So if your faucet, if the cup you're trying to fill up is too small and you turn the faucet on all the way, you're going to overflow the cup.
Right.
Which overflow the cup in this case means start an electrical fire in your garage.
Oh, that's bad.
If you have a really small faucet but a really big bucket you're trying to fill up, then you're just going to never fill up the bucket,
Yeah.
and so you're not going to get enough electricity to turn this on.
Okay.
So I made sure that the battery I bought is the same size faucet that my cup needs. So I don't have to worry about resistors and capacitors and all sorts of different things that other devices have that you will learn about in the Arduino unit to make everything match up. Now, just like the welder, our goal here is just to take electricity from here, send it in, and then back out and back into the battery. So it's going to go from the battery to the magnet, back to the battery, and the switch is going to turn on and off that power. So this one has a built-in switch. When I plug it into the wall, that one unfortunately does not have a built-in switch, so I'm going to have to make a switch for it. Or add a switch, not really making it. But I'm going to start by just doing a demonstration, and then we'll do some soldering. But first I just want to show you what the end goal is and how an electromagnet works. So I'm just twisting these wires together, but like I said, you want to make a circle. You want to make a circle from the power to here. What you don't want ever is for the two wires on the two different sides of the circle to touch, because that can create what's called a short, and that's where all your electricity just jumps from one to the other, and that's how welders work. So I can make a tiny welder if these touch and melt this whole thing and start a fire. So what I'm going to do is use, is there a roll of tape there, a little black roll of tape?
Yeah.
Can you toss that over, please? I'm going to use electrical tape. This is special tape, and it basically does the same job as the heat shrink tubing. I'm going to get scissors. Isn't that cool? It's all magnetic. Ooh. Leave a comment if you can tell me what this is, and if you can tell me what this is, I will bring you a prize when you come to camp. I'm going to leave it right here so you can see.
Okay. Do we have any
That's
guesses?
one of my favorite tools. And it's a tool you've all heard of before. It's just a really cool version so it looks different. But it's a tool you've all heard of before.
I think it's a wrench.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
It is a wrench.
Oh my god.
Did anybody else comment?
You spoiled it.
No, I didn't think I was going to
bring-
get it right so quickly.
I have to bring Jordana a prize now.
I get a prize.
But yeah, it's a wrench. It's a hydraulic wrench, so it actually uses the power of water to set the size of the wrench.
We didn't get it.
Well, your mom didn't leave them a lot of time.
I'm sorry. I really didn't think I was going to get it right. I thought you were just going to laugh at me when I said wrench.
Nope. Well, it's certainly not a hammer.
I knew that.
Yeah, that's my favorite wrench. That's from back when I used to hang lights and stuff for shows. It's not a flux capacitor. It does look like a Doctor Who sonic screwdriver though, which is why I like it. And I just 3D printed one last night actually. It was really cool. All right. So you can see I separated the two with the plastic so that they can't touch each other, the metal. And now, unless I'm forgetting something, when I plug this in, it doesn't look like anything happened, but that's because this isn't on. Now, it's a magnet.
It's a magnet.
And it's holding up my little paint can, and when I press the button, paint can drops.
Uh-huh.
So, see if I could suck it up. It's not strong enough. But I could probably suck up these scissors. There you go. You can go from a little bit away. Oh, these are stuck on tight now.
What's the difference between a magnet and an electromagnet?
Magnets are always magnetic. They're metals that are just that's just their properties, that they're always magnetic, whereas an electromagnet only turns into a magnet when it has electricity inside.
Okay.
You'll see these are like really big. They use them at like junkyards. Like if you ever go to where like they throw away cars, they actually take giant versions of these, like about the size of like a table, and they turn on the electricity, stick it on top of a car, pick up the car, bring it to the smasher, and then they turn off the power. The car drops into the smasher and then it gets smashed up. Then they turn it back on, pick up the smashed up car, and stack it on the pile.
Okay, and the reason why we want an electromagnet for our wave pendulum is we're going to push all the balls up so that they're all together, turn off the magnet, and then so they all start swinging together.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next is this. So we have two magnets, but the two magnets both have to be run off of one switch and one battery. They have
we have about 10 more minutes.
Okay. Trying to think if there's one more component to show.
Is there anything we can show them with the strings and the pool balls?
Well, I can show you. I posted this on my Instagram. The strings aren't really. Oh, I could drill the holes into one of the pool balls. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Trying to decide. What do you guys think? Because now you can help me design this.
Yeah.
If you look at this, I have to put two of these little hooks into it. And I can't figure out if it would be cooler to have it so that the number is directly on top, or if the numbers are facing out so that when it swings, the numbers are in front and back. Should the numbers be on top and bottom, or should they be front and back? I'll give you 1 minute to post, and then we'll tally up and do whatever you say.
Well,
I have an opinion.
So
What?
Yeah.
there's a lag.
I have an opinion, but I won't
Yeah.
say my opinion
I
yet.
have my opinion.
Okay. Let's see if we
We'll
agree.
post. Aren't you on the feed?
Yeah.
It doesn't count unless you put it in there.
Oh.
Do you have an opinion, Ben?
I have no opinion. That's why I asked you. If I had an opinion, I would just done it. No. I don't know. I've been going back and forth. That's why I started with the cue ball, because there's no numbers, so I kind of cheated.
Okay, we have one vote for front and back.
Yeah, I don't know which would be cooler.
Well, I'm the only person who, so there might be a longer lag than
Yeah.
refresh the page.
I have a question before I vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have, okay, how hard would it be to make sure that when all the balls are lined up, the numbers are all straight. Like it's not going to be wonky, is it?
There might be a little wonkage.
A little wonkage?
A little wonkage.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a lot. Like, it shouldn't be one going that direction, one going that direction. It should just be, like, within a couple centimeters.
Okay.
No one
Okay.
else was voting.
In theory.
Uh-huh.
Guess we're going with mine.
But it sounds like you want to go up and down.
Well, if it can be really nice and straight, I would want to go front and back.
It would be much harder.
Right, because then you have to make sure they're all straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I think we'll go up and down if nobody is voting.
okay.
Well,
All
I'll
right.
go to the front and back.
Yeah, but your mom and I voted the other way. So that's 2-1. That is good though, because it does give me like a nice solid marking, because I could just put one on one side of the
Oh, even
of the
better
circle and
reason.
one on the other side of the
Yeah,
circle.
okay.
So if you look, if you could see, I'm just making kind of like a vise out of this clamp. And I'm going to use this tool. It's called a center punch. And what a center punch does is it puts a little tiny hole in whatever you're doing. It literally, like, there's a spring in here, and when this goes in too far, it pushes it back out really hard. And so it pops a little tiny hole, and that way when I put in my drill bit, it finds that hole and just keeps making it bigger and bigger and bigger until it fits into this. And without a center punch, it's really hard to put holes in the right place. Even with the center punch, it's sometimes hard. Okay, and then
Now, what's in the core of that pool ball? What are you drilling into?
it's really interesting. I looked this up online because I was curious and I didn't have an extra pool ball to cut in half. But it's just like a solid piece of plastic all the way through. It kind of looks exactly like a jawbreaker or one of those gumballs that you get from the machines at the Skechers store.
Yeah.
And the other interesting thing is that, like a jawbreaker or a gumball, it smells really sweet. Like,
Really?
It smells like candy when you start to drill it out. And I'm sorry that you guys can't see that,
No smell-o-vision here.
but it's like the exact opposite of welding. Like, you get a really nice sweet smell instead of a really gross smell that makes your brain hurt. Okay, are we ready?
Yes. I
So
don't need
now-
a mask for this one.
No, you don't need a
I'm
mask.
not gonna die.
I
Okay.
should wear glasses in case something tips
Here.
out, but you guys are pretty far ahead of me.
Okay.
It says the exact requirements of a billiard ball are met with today's ball is cast from plastic material.
Yeah, they just cast. Like, literally, they take a hole and they just pour plastic into it.
Oh, that are strongly resistant to cracking and tripping.
Yeah,
Shit.
unless you're drilling into them, then they start to crack a little bit.
Oh, I mean,
Well, I
is
don't
it,
know how many people drill into people, so.
More than you'd expect once you start looking on YouTube. So something you want to do if you're drilling into soft materials or things that might break is you drill a little bit, because again, everything today has been either friction or circuits. So this creates a lot of friction, and that friction creates heat. And when it gets too hot, it cracks and explodes. So what you want to do is just drill a little bit and then pull it out. And give it a little bit of time to cool down before you drill it again. Another thing that drilling it a little bit at a time does is it allows you to take out all the extra material, because all you're doing is cutting out material in there, and it doesn't always come back out the top. So when you pull the drill out, it pulls out all that extra material and makes more space to make new material. Kind of like
Make
if
a
you're
new
digging a hole, you can't just throw the sand you're picking up back into the hole,
uh-huh.
like we'll do on beach day. Okay, and this is my favorite part because I just bought this tool yesterday, or 2 days ago, but it's super cool. This is another kind of wrench,
Yeah.
and what it does is it has all these little pins in it.
Oh, yeah.
So there's all these little metal sticks, and they're pushed by a spring, and when you put something in there, the sticks go in, and so only the thing that you're pushing gets stuck in there. So you can turn weird objects, because a normal like screwdriver bit wouldn't help me put in something like these hooks. But with this, when you stick in the hook, it pushes the pins in, and then when you turn it, the hook gets stuck in the pins.
So it forms to whatever you're trying to work with.
Yeah, which makes it much easier than if I were doing this by hand. But I am going to switch my drill to a setting that's less strong so that I don't accidentally push too hard and break something. So that's how you could hear that bumping sound. That means that...
So that's a little hook.
That's a little hook, and then we'll be able to tie the
String.
to the hook on one side, and then to that piece of pulley, whatever.
Just like this.
Just like that. And then we'll be able to tie it at the right speed.
Got it.
Not easy to...
So you're starting it by hand at first, and then you'll finish it
I'm
off.
sure trying.
Is the hole that you drilled not big enough?
No, it's big enough. It's just hard to get it in.
Hard
Because
to
if
get
I
it
make it any
started.
bigger, it's
Oh, Emily Bernstein's joining us all the way
Hi,
from Las
Emily.
Vegas. Hi, Emily. We miss you, Emily.
there we go.
Okay, so now you can use the drill.
There
Perfect.
we go. Yeah,
Okay.
at least pretty close. There we go. And now we have another one.
And in the last few minutes that we have, are you going to be able to measure out the strings for this ball? Or not?
I can walk you through all the measurements I made. I don't think I'll have time to actually cut everything to those measurements.
Well, we only have a couple more minutes.
Yeah. That's not good.
Uh-oh. The 360 camera sees everything. What happened? Did it break?
The thing broke off in the middle.
Uh-oh.
So now there's a little piece of metal in there. But what I'll do is I'll just flip it over and you won't see it on the bottom. And I'll just put the hook in the other side.
Oh. See, that's good that we went,
Yeah.
that we decided to go up and down instead of front to back.
Yeah. Now there's just going to be a couple little holes, but that's okay.
Okay.
I could paint over them.
Okay.
Or get another one. But
Well, see, it's never perfect when it comes to science and building.
especially not if I'm doing it.
Well, thank you to everybody for joining us. This was so fun, and I love seeing how this wave pendulum is coming together. So again, if you want to come and play with the wave pendulum and visit all of us, you can come visit us at the Clippers Science Festival, March 22nd and 23rd at the LA Convention Center. And if this seems like a lot of fun, you can come join us at camp this summer. And you can check out our website, which is 6-points-sci-tech.org, and make sure you look at /West, because we're the West Camp here in California.
California.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben. You're doing a great job on this wave pendulum.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.